It's been crazy. When I first started voice acting, I just always, like, I loved anime when I was in high school and video games, and I just kind of never grew out of it when all of my friends did. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just keep being into this. And then I just kept getting pulled towards working in it. I went to an anime convention, and I was like, I know 3 anime. I am the biggest anime fan in the whole world. And then I showed up and I was like, what? What's going on here? So I kind of just was confused the whole time. But I saw an advertisement for a voice acting class, and I was like, that seems fun. Let's try that. And then the teacher was like, you should do this for a job. And I was like, oh, it's a job. That's cool. Maybe this is why I never grew out of it. But when I first started, I was like the only one in this voice acting class because nobody really did it yet. Like, people did it, but people weren't like dying to be voice actors like they are today. And so now if you try to do those same classes, it's like they sell out immediately. So I thought I was doing something really niche. And I was like, great, because I don't really want to be famous. I just like to act and make things. And then almost immediately, anime exploded. And I was like, uh-oh. Now people will look at me, which is not the plan. But it's been really cool. I mean, when I first started, the thing that other anime actors would say was like, you can't make a living on this. So it's kind of a thing that you do for extra money for fun, but then you need a day job. But then shortly after I started, there was just so much that I was able to not have a day job, which was really nice. So it's been cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
I mean, growing up, everyone wants to do something kind of like that. Like, I always wanted to be a cartoon because, and I ask this question to everybody, by the way, cartoons usually get toys.
Yes.
And I'm a massive plastic collector. So there are Bandais or something for some of your people, right? Like, you have toys? In theory?
I have a whole shelf that has a bunch of figures, and then I got too many characters that had figures, so I had to stop buying them because I didn't have any more room on the shelf.
No excuse. There's no excuse.
I know.
You put them in the shed.
Eventually, if I ever get more shelf space, I'm going to catch
Just
up.
stack them in the living room like I do.
I know. Listen, my husband collects Lego. We've got a lot of things that we need to display, so there's there's a lot going on.
Do you have a Lego yet? Have they done?
No.
They're starting to dip into that realm, aren't they?
Yes, but no. People have given me Lego that they have custom made of my characters, which is exciting. And then I put little Shinobus into our city Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny Lego fight that we have going on our bookshelf. So I put it there without telling my husband, and he was like, is this your character? And I was like, yes. I've joined the battle.
How did the Persona thing happen?
Ooh, so that was kind of out of the blue. I got an email from a studio I hadn't worked with before, and they were like, hello, we would like you to audition for a secret project. Here's 2 lines. Can you read these as a high school student that's nice, but not too nice? And I was like, yeah. So I sent the 2 lines back. They were like, this is a rush. We need it by the end of the day. And I was like, okay. So I sent them back. And then by the end of the day, I got an email that was like, good job, you booked it. And I was like, what? Booked what? And they were like, don't worry about it. Come in on Monday. And I was like, okay. So I showed up on Monday, and then they were like, okay, have you heard of Persona 5? And I was like, is that game that's been delayed 5,000 times? And they were like, yes, it is. We're making it finally. And I was like, cool. Okay, cool. And then I didn't realize what a big thing it was going to be. I knew of Persona, and I had worked in the production department at the studio that did the P4 anime. So my job when I was in I have no time for
Kim
stitches
Possible?
right now. It was. Yes.
Excellent.
I worked in the production department, and my job was to watch some episodes of the anime and make sure they didn't miss any lines. And I was like, this is awesome. Don't know what's happening because I'm jumping in at episode 8 and then jumping to episode 12. But it was very exciting when I heard I was in Persona because I was like, that's the thing I think I like. So it was cool.
That's crazy because I used to be real into video games. I slow down because, again, I'm old. But I used to track charts and stuff like that. And there was a 2.5 year period where it was Persona 5 was only outdone by Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
It was the amount of copies that game sold were staggering.
Yes.
The numbers were insane, and then they had the expansion and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because before Persona 5, I think people loved Persona, but it was kind of more niche. And then Persona 5 just broke out of the niche stage.
Yeah.
And then, when we got into Super Smash Brothers, I was like, yes, we've made it. This is my ultimate goal. I can retire. I didn't, but I could have if I wanted to.
Fair enough. Okay. Deep questions that I definitely came up with on my own. Okay, so in Violet Evergarden, it's a more like a darker kind of story. And then throughout the show, there's flashbacks of your character, Violet, passed in the war, and instead follow her life as she tries to find some humanity after. It feels like some people could relate to that character a bit more than most anime characters. So what was your favorite part of the character itself and the story run through the show?
How many people have seen Violet Evergarden? Yay! You all cried, I bet.
I hear it's stellar. I'm being forced to watch it eventually.
So good. For those of you that haven't seen it, first of all, it's not that long, so it's not that big of a commitment. And it's the most gorgeous show I've ever been a part of. It will make you cry. It will ruin your day. So just be prepared. But it's such a Violet is such a grounded character. She goes through so much trauma in the show. And that was my first simuldub experience, which for those of you who don't know what a simuldub is, that's when you are kind of recording as the episodes are being made in Japan. So you don't get to know what's happening in the story past what you're currently doing, which is very hard for a character like Violet that has a big arc. So I was a little nervous going in because I had looked up as much as I could about the show, and there were people speculating maybe she's a robot. And I was like, do you think she's a robot, director? And the director was like, I don't think so. And I was like, let's pretend she's not a robot and kind of deal with that if that ever comes up. She wasn't a robot, so we made the right choice.
Spoilers.
I know, spoilers. She is not a robot.
I just said I was going to watch it.
She is a human person. She has metal arms. That was where the confusion came from. But yeah, I going on that journey with Violet was so amazing, and she really connects with a lot of people, especially, her story is she was in a war, and then the war ends, and she has to figure out how to live a normal life, and so it connected with a lot of service people, and I am just so happy and honored to be a part of something that touches people so deeply. It's one of my all-time favorite projects. So go watch it if you haven't seen it, but you will cry. So sorry.
Yeah, my kid's not easily impressed, and I got it's so good. I'm like, okay, so it must be something special. Okay. Next one. So you don't say the X, right? Everyone, no X in Hunter. It's not Hunter X Hunter. It's Hunter Hunter.
Hunter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The X is silent.
The X is just for flair.
So Hunter Hunter came out, in the the dark days, was it 2010, 2011? So a lot of the younger generation, the whippersnappers, consider an old school kind of anime, but it really broke through mainstream. It was one of the ones that helped launch this whole thing. That wasn't a Dragon Ball or whatever. So how does it feel to be part of not I don't want to say you're a pioneer or nothing, but you were kind of you were part of a show that was on that wave as it started to come up. Because after 2010, 2011, it was just insanity after that, and it's one of those shows that really kind of started the movement. Must be kind of cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. I was so nervous about Hunter x Hunter because my character Kurapika he starts the show at 17, and usually women are only playing boy characters if they're before puberty. And so I got the audition for Gon, Killua, and Kurapika, which are the 3 young boy characters. And I emailed the studio back, and I was like, did you accidentally send me this almost adult man? And they were like, no, he's played by a woman in Japanese. They want kind of an androgynous sound. And I was like, all right, well, I'll try, but I don't know. And then, of course, that's the one that I got cast as. And I was like, uh-oh. I've never played a character like this before. What if I'm bad? Thankfully, the director for Hunter x Hunter was that very first voice actor teacher I had, Tony Oliver. And I was so happy that he was the director because he, had been with me on my learning how to be a voice actor journey. And he was like, all right, remember your stance. Remember you're a boy. So low down, keep your hand on your stomach so you remember, keep the voice low. And I was like, okay, thank you, Tony. And it was just so cool. I up until that point, I'd played very sweet characters, who didn't really get to fight. And so it was very exciting to be a character that had cool fight scenes. And that's another one that I love that show. The way the show ends currently is there's like not an ending. It has
Spoilers.
like 120 something episodes, and they were like, the manga's still being made, so we'll make more later. And then that manga stopped being made for a while, so it kind of was in limbo. And I've heard that there's gonna be like 50 chapters dropped next month, so I'm like, what if we do an OVA or something? Because people still love Hunter x Hunter all these years later. I feel like a few years go by and then suddenly it explodes again. I think it being on like Hulu really helped. Suddenly people found it in the pandemic and were like, this is awesome. So that's another one that is really good, but that one doesn't have a conclusion currently, so I'm hoping someday. Keep liking it so that they make it. Before I'm 87 years old and they're like, you cannot voice this young boy anymore. And then I cry, so.
And just disclaimer, there's no issues with a grown man sounding like a 15-year-old still.
Yeah, yeah, no. I think I like it. I like what we ended up doing with the character, so, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we got a pretty packed room. Who's got questions? Someone out there's got to get
Oh, questions.
Green, crazy hair. Sorry, I just didn't. It was the first thing I saw, so you had your hand up first.
Colorful hair, yes. Yes. I love both of them. Oh my gosh. Cassandra and I have been friends kind of since I started in the industry. I love her so much. We ended up moving really close to each other, so she's great. And then Tara Sands was Mokuba in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was so obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! As a young person. Mokuba Kaiba. Yeah. And so I didn't realize that when I first met her. And then later on I was like, wait, you're Mokuba? I'm gonna not be a fangirl right now, but like, it's so cool. Oh my gosh, I love it. And she also voiced Bulbasaur. Yeah, and Bulbasaur was my original starter. And I was like, are you the coolest person in the world? I think maybe you are. So I love both of them. Yes, it's very exciting. Oh, that's a good question. My favorite Venti line is, "Thank Barbados." Wait a minute. Which is when he opens a treasure chest. For those of you who don't play the game, Venti is Barbados. That's why it's funny, because he forgot. When we recorded that line, I was like, wait, did he really forget, or is he like joking? And they were like, we don't know. Let's try it a few different ways. And I was very excited that they chose one where it was like, he actually forgot, because I think that's funniest. He's very old. He's been around a long time. Sometimes he forgets things. You know, he drinks a lot. Thank you. Well, yes?
Right down here.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we dubbed the video games. Unless I am forgetting. But a lot of times with anime video games, they don't dub them because they're like, who wants English in a video game? I do. Yeah. I mean, that started as a video game. But for video games that were based on anime, a lot of times we don't dub them, which is why I was very excited that we did dub the Demonslayer video games. That was cool.
Oh, I have those.
Yeah, Demonslayer.
I have those.
Yeah, there have been a couple. There's one that's like a Mario Party Demon Slayer game. That one's fun. I like that.
Yeah,
I don't know that they love me saying it's a Mario Party Demon Slayer game, because when we were recording, I was like Mario Party, and they were like, yeah, but it's not Mario Party. And I was like, I mean, I know, but like, it kind of is.
We had one on the side right here. Yep, you're here.
Yes, so often. Especially when I first started, I sometimes would get very self-conscious about things. Because, again, I don't want people to perceive me or look at me. And when you record for voiceover, you're in like a booth, and then there's a window. It's like you're a fish. And on the other side of the window, there's people watching. And you can only hear them if they press the button that lets you hear them. So sometimes you'll do a line, and then they'll just be like, and I'm like, oh God, what did I do? It's terrible. And then they come back on, and they're like, oh, that was great. Sorry, we were discussing something else. And I'm like, cool, great. Thanks for giving me a heart attack. Everything's fine. But yeah, I used to get more self-conscious. I took a class with Richard Horvitz, who is the voice actor who did like Invader Zim. He's amazing. And in his class, he had this one, it was like a 6 week thing. And there was 1 week, and the entire basis was, you are enough because you are human. And that was like, we were supposed to be like, I'm enough because I am human. I'm great, blah, blah, blah. And in the class, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I was driving to a recording session like a couple days later, and I remember so vividly having a moment where like I was thinking about I am enough because I am human, and suddenly I was like, oh, I don't have to be nervous because it's just fun. I'm just gonna go have fun. They already cast me, so they already like me. That's great. And then I did like my best session ever that day, and I was like, oh, breakthrough. Thanks, Richard. So yeah, nowadays I just have fun with it. Like, I mean, it's cartoons, it's video games. It's kind of supposed to be silly a lot of the time. And if I didn't like doing it, I would stop. So yeah, I did get very nervous hearing myself when I first started though, because I was like, oh my God, I sound like a regular human. Everyone's gonna know I'm a fraud. Turned out they didn't, so it's good. Yeah, tricked you.
What's the most obscure voice you've ever done for something? Like, were you like a Pop-Tart in a commercial or something weird, like just like something that no one knows about?
Oh man. I mean, I did do a commercial for Truly alcohol at one point.
Well, I know what that is.
Yeah, that was fun. I had one line in the commercial, which was great because commercials pay a lot for hardly any work. And I was like, hooray, thank you, alcohol company.
Yay.
I don't drink a lot of alcohol.
3 cheers for Truly.
So, it's great. So that was fun for a while. I guess my most obscure, I'm additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's my favorite obscure thing that I've done. My husband proposed to me the day that I recorded for Kingdom Hearts 3 because it's my favorite game series, and he said he knew he couldn't compete with Kingdom Hearts Day. So now I can say it's the best day of my life without feeling any guilt because I also got engaged. So hooray.
That's awesome.
So that's my favorite kind of obscure.
I do know Kingdom Hearts because it's Disney. Because it's Disney, and I'm one of those crazy Disney adults.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to go in order. I think you, and then you go after her.
Hail. Hi. Yeah. Ooh, okay. So my first voiceover role that I booked, So I got an internship in the production department of Bang Zoom Entertainment that does a lot of anime. But I was in the production department. When I interviewed for the job, I was like, I understand that this is not an acting internship. This is I want to see what the production side of things are. Because when I first changed my major to theater, my parents were like, what if you did something that made a paycheck? And I was like, okay, I'll try. So I did production over there. They knew that I was a theater major in college. So they were like, are you interested in voice acting? And I was like, yes. And they were like, okay, we'll let you sit in on sessions and, kind of see how it works. And so that was great. I got to see Tony and be like, hi, Tony. And he was like, whoa, hey, what's up? I'm sitting on this K-On session. Let's watch Christina V. And I was like, wow, so cool. And since they knew that I at least had a basis of acting, they would kind of throw me into Walla sessions. Walla is group recording sessions where you're the crowds of a scene. So if the scene takes place at a school, the Walla will be just students mingling in the hallways, talking about random things that you listening won't actually be able to hear, but we'll say things like, oh my gosh, I forgot my homework. Oh, the teacher's gonna kill me. Stuff like that. So that was fun. Those I don't count as actually being cast because they were just they would just take people around the studio and be like, do you want to be in the Walla session today? My first thing that I auditioned for, they started sending me auditions, kind of pity auditions, I think, because they were like, you can try. Didn't book a lot of things. The first thing that I really booked that I auditioned for was a character in the video game Battleship that was based on the movie Battleship that was based on the board game Battleship. Not a good movie, not a great video game. But I auditioned and I was cast. And I remember I was at college in my dorm when I got the email and I screamed. I was like, ah! And my roommate was like, what happened? And I was like, I booked a role. I like booked an acting job. They're gonna pay me. They're gonna pay me to act. And she was like, oh my God, crazy. What is it? And I was like, don't worry about it. And so I went in and I did the session. My character was so annoying. It was like the Navi character of the game where it's like, go over here, do this, come on. Does not shut up the entire game. And I found someone playing the game on YouTube, and he was like, oh my gosh, this girl just like will not shut up. And I was like, that's me that won't shut up, yay. So it was very exciting. Nobody's played that game. I got the game and an Xbox just to play the game. I couldn't beat it. It was very annoying. I kept telling myself to do something that I could not do, and I was like, shut up, me! God! So, who knows how it ends. Probably we win. I don't know. Aliens are there. Whatever. But yeah, so that was very exciting. And then from that point on, just like anything that I booked was like so exciting, such a win. If I was a character that had like lines outside of being a Walla character, I was like, oh my God, I did it. Wow, I have a name in this show. That's so cool. I got to be one of the students in K-On! That was just like in the background, and I was like, oh my God, if I look her up, she has like something on the wiki. Whoa, crazy. She said like 8 lines. It was such a non-character that I think they mixed me up with somebody else, and then we swapped characters in the movie. Whatever. It's fine. But yeah, it was just every time I got something, it was like, wow, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing that I decided to try. Because when I changed my major, I was like, I'm young, I'm 18. If this doesn't work out, like, that's fine. I can do something else in like 10 years if I fail. So every time before those 10 years were up, when I actually got paid to do it, I was like, hey, Mom, I got $20 today. Suck it. So yeah, it was just very exciting. It is really hard starting out in a creative industry, especially. You're a freelancer, so yeah, you don't have a constant paycheck. The day I decided that I was gonna quit the production job, they hired me from the internship, so I worked there for a year, got $8 an hour. Oh, very exciting. And then I was like, I can't continue college and have this job, and I was starting to get cast in things, and I was like, I don't have time for all of these. So I had to pick 2 out of the 3. I knew my parents would die of heart attacks if I didn't finish college, so I was like, that one's one. And then I decided to go for acting. And I remember my last day, I was like, I've made a huge mistake. Oh my God, I'm not gonna get my $8 an hour. What am I gonna do? And then I got cast as Aisha in the game Atelier Aisha a week after that. And she had like 38 hours of recording, and I would not have had time to play the character if I hadn't quit the job just a week before. And I was like, okay, this is a sign from the universe that I did it. It's okay. And that paid me enough that I was able to not die of starvation between that and the next job. So, hooray! So yeah, those are small wins. I don't really know when it turned into like getting cast more often. I feel like I blinked and suddenly I was working enough that I could not have to count my dollars at the grocery store anymore, which was really nice.
It's not fun, I'm telling you.
No. I could buy 3 apples instead of 1.
There you go.
Wow.
Organic apples.
I know, very exciting.
Fair.
Hi. I know that you probably can't say much on this subject because it's kind of swift, but is there any hope for a second Genshin story quest?
Oh, I think definitely. Listen, they don't tell me anything. To the point where, to prove to you that they don't tell me anything. I also voice Easteroth now in Genshin Impact, which is like a goddess of time or something. I don't know. And when they asked me if I wanted to voice her, they were like, hey, we think it would be fun because the Chinese voice actress for Venti also voices her. And I was like, oh, that's a cute little Easter egg. They dropped the trailer with Easteroth. No, every single Venti voice actor plays Easteroth. And I was like, wait, you made me think it was just like a fun little, like, we were just doing it. But like, this is purposeful now. Like, why are we, one of the Venti voice actors is a man, and now he's playing this woman? Like, what are you, hello? So they tell me nothing. But I mean, he's definitely gonna have a second story quest. My theory is that they're waiting for all 7 Archons to be like here, because his second story quest is gonna be something with all of the Archons where he's like gathering them. Again, they tell me nothing. But that's, if I was writing fan fiction, that's what I would write. So, so that's what I got for you. Thank you.
Are Archons. I'm making note. Archons.
Archons. Yes, yes.
Blue shirt on the end of the aisle there.
I am not on board with the robots taking over the world. No. Yeah. Listen, why should the robots get to do all the fun stuff while I still have to do my taxes? That's not fair. Make them do my taxes for me. Yeah, so I personally don't love how fast AI has kind of come into everything. My husband's an artist too, so we're both like, oh God, we don't have any other skills. What? He's an animator. Yeah. And so we sometimes have existential crises if we think too hard about the state of the world and AI and everything. I do think, clearly it's like we're not gonna not have AI at this point. So my thinking in regards with like voiceover is like, as long as there's a way that like they don't just replace humans with AI, like if there were a project where they had very specific boundaries where they were like, we want to have you come in to record for this project, and then for specific parts of the project, we want to use the voice stuff that you already recorded for us. We'll pay you again for like this other AI stuff, and then we'll do that. And like, we can't use it for anything else. We can't use it to train. We can't use it for anything else. Then I'd be like, okay, I mean, like, pay me a lot, but, potentially. People feel a lot of different ways about AI. There's some people that are like, well, then you get paid for not doing any work, so congratulations. And I'm like, but I like the work. That's why I do it. Why would I do this job that only pays me sporadically if I didn't like to do the work part? And I would just work in an office if that were the case. So, I think people that don't do creative jobs don't really get that part of it, because they're like, I would love to not have to do work and get paid. And I'm like, but we like to create things. Don't take that from me, robots. Do my taxes. So, yeah, I don't know. It's sad, but also maybe there's a way to, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to integrate it. I don't know what it is exactly, but, stupid AI, darn robots. Unless they're about to take over, in which case, hooray, don't murder me, microwave. I love you.
And for the kids in the room, they've been making movies why this is a bad idea for about 40-something years now.
That's what confuses me. I'm like, did none of us watch the movies for the past 50 years about this exact thing happening? Hello? It's like we... Well, those are cool, but like, hello, did anyone else watch Smart House growing up? That movie scarred me as a child, and I was like, we can't have this, and now all the smart houses are real.
Yeah. So, well, we only got time for one more, unfortunately, and my man back here with the glasses, he's been waiting patiently since the start, so I got to give it to him. I apologize. You're all, bud.
Ooh, it's definitely like, it's exploded. And back when I started, I kind of had to hide that I wanted to be a voice actor from my theater department in college, because they were like, that's not true acting. Now that same theater department invites me back to do like guest lectures. And I'm like, wow, crazy. And they're like, so many of our students want to be voice actors. And I'm like, that's so funny. And I know there's like colleges now that have like, you can minor in voice acting specifically. And I'm like, that's wild, because that is not what it was like back then. And so it's great that like it's become so much more accessible to people, especially the pandemic was bad. But one good thing it did is like it made remote recording more like, suddenly the studios were like, oh, we can have people record from anywhere, I guess, because we don't need to see their faces. We just need to hear them clearly. So it kind of opened the doors to people all over. Back when I first started, you really had to you had to live in one of the places where they did it. So you had to live in Los Angeles or New York or Dallas. And now it's kind of like, you can, if you get your setup sounding good. You can be anywhere, which is nice because relocating is hard. There's way more opportunities because there's just so much more that they're dubbing. You know, video games have had a huge explosion. Some video game storylines are just like, they're basically movies that you play through, which is awesome. Because again, I love acting. I have a theater degree. I want to do the like beefy acting stuff, and so that's awesome. It's not just like woohoo anymore, you know. And so it is at the same time, because it's so much more accessible, way more competitive. Oh my God, breaking into it nowadays is like so much harder because there's thousands of people who are wanting to do it too. Back when I first started, it was kind of like what are you doing? Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like I said, that class I took, it was just me and one other person in this class, which is wild. That is not how it is today. So yeah, it's interesting to watch. Sometimes I feel like it's been 5 lifetimes since I started, but also it hasn't been that long. I've been doing it for like 14 years, and it's changed wildly in that amount of time. So yeah, it's crazy. But if you want to be a voice actor, it's really fun. You should try to do it. But just know it's a struggle. The first few years are the hardest, trying to break in. And then, it's kind of like when people move to Hollywood to become a star, we always are like, well, a lot of people will move out, and then within 5 years, a lot of them move back because they're like, I can't do it. And then the people that stay past 5 years, a lot of times, they are going to make it because they stick with it. So it's kind of the same idea. That was a lot of rambling. I don't really know where we started with that question. But anyway,
that's okay.
Hopefully I answered it.
Awesome. Well, so everyone, thank you for helping me navigate through my first anime panel.
Hooray!
It's been a lot of fun. So, on top of obviously everyone's really into all the stuff you're doing, but the story is also, it's great. It's a great story, and it's just,
Thank you.
It's nice. I didn't have that. I was 18 and had a kid. It's like, I got to go do computers because I can't do anything fun.
I used to
now
come
I
to
live in an office.
I used to come to conventions and sit in on panels with voice actors. So
cool.
it's sometimes I'm like, this is crazy, but I'm up here now. I want to go out there and listen to somebody. But
There we go.
I have to say the words.
So everyone, thank you for coming. Thank you for asking your questions.
Thank you
Erika
all
Harlacher,
so
everybody.
much. Thank you.